it's going to be easy for people who are touched to let go. People who are touched are usually people that you think are something's wrong with them. People who are touched. Are they touched by an angel? Or are they touched by something nefarious? I'm going to tell you it's not necessarily either case. But some of these ones that are holding on are really holding on with a death grip. A death grip. It's basically, I'm not going to let go of my control over my dead body while I'm still kicking. Am I going to stop my nastiness? Okay, we got a military plane. Transport. Okay, so people who are very much well, are these ones that have got this death grip on their control stick touched? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter trying to figure out what it is that's motivating them to hold on to their control stick. It's just a usual thing that I do. I get up in the morning, I make coffee, I have toast. That's what I usually do. So it's sort of a routine, but then if you confront them on their routine, which is being control freaks, I see kind of what do we see? I see them constipated. They've got a full intestine full of ready to go. So they're really needing to empty their holding tank. What are they holding on to? Shit. And what is it going to take for them to go to really release it all? Well, for most of us, it's a regular routine. For the ones that are holding on to their control sticks, it's a bit of shame. It's a bit about, a long time ago I came to the conclusion I was a control freak, and I'm ashamed that way back then I didn't let go of the control. And now that I should have let go of control way back then. So it's recriminations and it's shame. It's like I've really come to regret the fact that I'm a control freak. I recognized it quite some time ago, and I'm in a real pickle because I've got this I got myself screaming at myself in private. Oh, what the hell am I doing? I'm still acting like a control freak. I promise that I'm going to let go of this. I gotta let go. And then the shame rears its ugly head and says, you should have done it a long time ago. And then you go, oh, I can't deal with this today. I can't deal with this. You know, it's like, I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. I can't. I can't is a really big part of the control freak and their letting go process. I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. So, and then the shame of it is like, I said this to myself a long time ago. I've said this multiple times. I need to stop being a control freak. And, you know, I should have done this a long time ago. I remember having this exact same conversation with myself about letting go of control freakness. And here I am catching myself doing it again and doing it again. And I can't do it. I can't. I got too much. I don't even know what it is. It's just like a huge mound of stone that's holding me here in my control freakness. It's too heavy. It's too heavy for me to let go. Too heavy, too heavy, too heavy. So we come to the Chinese pavilion, and we got Lao Su here. We got the Chinese pavilion, we got Lao Su. And what does Lao Su say? Well, what do you say, Lao Su? What do you say, Lao Su, to someone who's got these issues? What do you say? What do you say? What did he say to you? Someone is saying, I have a responsibility to be a control freak. Because everyone's watching me and they expect me to be a control freak. They hired me to be the control freak. It was a long time ago. And I'm really good at being a control freak. So good that I don't think there's anything else, any other possible way of being where I could be as good at that as I am at being a control freak. So, I don't know, to sum it up, it's shame, because I've had this conversation with myself many times, and every time I come against the same huge stones, heavy, heavy stones, and I look at these stones and I said, this is the problem. I've got huge stones, heavy, 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 and I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to do it. These are huge stones. Huge, 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 heavy stones. I should have done it so long ago. And now I'm sort of in this pattern where everyone expects me to be the control freak. Who's got the biggest expectations on me? Well, my partners in control freakness. My codependents, they'll call themselves. The codependencies, maybe there's 3 of them. 3 codependent control freaks. And they all look at each other and, silently they say to one another, we should have let go of being control freaks a long time ago. You go first. And they look at each other and they look at each other and they look at each other. And then they look at their control panel and they feel so much heaviness looking at each other, they turn away from each other and they go back to their control panel where they're going to be control freaks. One of the control freaks says, well, isn't shame a low vibe kind of energy? Yes. And is it looking back on the past and having recriminations a low frequency thing? Because your power is in the now. It's not in going back in time and trying to change time. Say, if I could just go back in time, I would have changed my mind then, and then I wouldn't have had the issue of me waking up today and coming to my control panel. So yes, so that means that if those are 2 of the enormous stones that you're dealing with, I shoulda, and I got shame, you should ignore those 2 energies. Sure, they feel like heavy because they're heavy. They're heavy, dense, negative energies. Ignore them. Don't be concerned with low frequency feelings. But I've still got this codependency with these others, and I still can't deal with it today. I look at them and they turned away and they've gone back to their control panels, and the moment has passed when we looked at each other and silently we go, who's going to be the one? Is today the day we're going to let go of our control panel? And we all turn back to our control panel, and it's easier to stay at our control panel and monitor the things we're controlling than it is for us to turn around. Another way it wants to be looked at is television's music show, The Voice, where you've got the judges. Let's say there's 3 judges, and they're the 3 control freaks. And you've got one of the people who you're controlling singing a song. And it's the blind audition round. So you don't see the person, you're just listening to them. And for the blind audition, one of the 3 coaches, at least one of the 3 coaches, or one of the 3 control freaks, has got to hit their button and turn around and say, yeah, I'll take you on my team. Why are they control freaks? I'm sorry, those coaches on The Voice are control freaks. I'll make you a star. I think you can win. My dad sometimes comments on this show. He hates this show. My mom sometimes likes watching this show. He says, I hate that Adam. He says all they do is they're so full of themselves. How many years has this show been on? He looks at my mother and he said, how long has this show been on? And these jackasses, Adam Levine, he keeps looking at that one, really takes a dislike to that one. I don't know why. But that one, he says, all they do is just run their mouth. Yabba, 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 yabba. They say the same stupid spiel over and over again, show after show, year after year. What the hell are they still doing this show for? And he's right. What the hell is Adam Levine doing on this show? Why doesn't he go take up trapeze or cat sitting or computer programming or something new? Why is he still doing this stupid show and he still says the same stupid things? And he's got, they're going to change my hair this week. I'm going to, show you my tattoos today. And, why? It's a huge ego thing for these guys, girls. Huge, 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 huge. And all the rest of us are looking at them and going, really? Really? So getting back to the control freaks, the 3 control freaks at their 3 control panels. If you could ignore the low frequency, heavy energy stones, then it becomes who's going to look first. In other words, I've got my codependents here. It's not just one, I've got 2 codependents. And all 3 of us know we're control freaks. And sometimes we look at each other and we say, grow some balls. In other words, take it into your own hands and make the change. Unleash the hostages. In other words, the ones you're controlling, let them go. Nothing happens for another day. Nothing happens for another day. Nothing happens for another day. Then they consult the astrology table. That, we got a full moon coming up on Wednesday. And then we listen to YouTube and there's a full moon report about all the energies coming into the planet. This might be the time, they think. It's like we're going to time it with the cycle of the moon where we're going to let go of control. The full moon comes, the full moon goes. What happened? Nothing. Because it's gone on for so long, it's an inside joke among the control freaks. Yeah, we always say we're going to let go of control freakness. We always go to look to see if there's, something we can time it with. And when the time comes, we grab onto our control stick even harder. I'll be damned if I'm the first one to let go of the control stick. This is the story of what's going on everywhere. Everywhere. No one wants to stand out and say, whoops, I just let go of my control stick. Look at me. I got, free hands here. I got free hands. I got 2 hands and they're not on the control stick right now. My control freak, I dropped it. Woo! No one does that. No one does that. It sounds like Homer Simpson. Homer Simpson going, woo! I want a free beer at Moe's. Woohoo! Because they don't think that they're going to get any respect from the other control freaks. And that's what they're living for in the end. They're living for the respect of other control freaks. It's codependency. Why do you do what you do, Mr. Control Freak? Because the other control freaks are watching me. What are they going to do if I let go? I don't know. It's a loss of face. It's all about loss of face. It's like you were the first one. Go grab your control stick. They're all going to gang tackle me. Go grab your control stick. Get back. Get back. Someone wants me to say say it's a sad, sad affair. Well, yes, it is, but I mean, that's been talked about before. How is anyone who's a control freak ever going to worry more about everything that they're controlling that needs to be set free rather than losing face to the other control freaks? Okay, I'm looking at here at a solvent abuse treatment center. I'm not going to show you the sign, but that's what it says. What does it mean to me at this particular juncture as I'm going for my walk? It's definitely something that's is it? Why are they giving me? I always say, why are they giving it? Because, you know, it's like I go for a walk and I take a pause in the talk, and then I see a sign that says Solvent Abuse Center. Is it the control freaks that are huffing paint thinner? Or is it the ones that they control, who feel so controlled that they can't be free, that they turn to huffing paint thinner? Thinner? Paint thinner. What's paint thinner? Maybe that's how you say paint thinner after you've had a few huffs of it. You cannot advise the control freak codependents. This is a story about them. They listen to it. They nod their heads, you know, when they go to the bathroom and they're in a stall where no one else can see them. But this goes on and on and on and on. And despite the stories about how much more interesting things are going to be if they just simply let go of control, there's too many heavy stones today. There's too much shame. There's too much I shoulda done it a long time. Oh, I screwed it up again. I didn't do it again today. I don't want to lose face around the office. I gotta keep control. I can't. This is the halfway point in the story. The halfway point of the three control freaks. Stay tuned for the next part. Probably in what happens when you get to the end of eternity and the control freaks are still control freaks. What does eternity mean? Most people, it just means time that keeps marching on and keeps marching on, keep marching on. In other words, it never ends. It never ends. How does the story end? I tell you how it ends, the way it began. You had someone who got hoodwinked into becoming a control freak. They got hoodwinked into it. Is that their original nature? No. No, it wasn't. But somehow they got hoodwinked into it. Hoodwinked means they got tricked into it. They got tricked into it probably by a lot of very low frequency heavy stones. They saw these, they felt all this heaviness. And someone said, well, here you are in the middle of all this heavy negativity. I guess you belong because you're here. This is your job. You're going to be a control freak. How the story ends, someone wants to say when the story ends. We're only halfway through the story. Only halfway through. And we've got eternity for the control freak to reflect on this, that somewhere way in the back of my mind, there was a day when I felt all these heavy negativities, and somewhere I got a message. It was my job to sit there in the heavy negativities, to sit there and to become the heavy negativities. The next chapter is a story about someone who wasn't negative, who somehow got a message that their job was to go find these negative control freaks and sit there with them. Were they doing control? No, they were just going to sit there and hold space. Holding space means not being a control freak. Does it mean you're putting yourself out to be a victim for the controllers? Not intentionally, but yes, you will become controlled by the control freaks, because they see everything as something that needs to be controlled by them. But no, your intention is to hold space, to bring an alternative to the attention of the control freaks. That is, someone who is not a control freak has just entered your environment. They immediately turn and say, I gotta control that one. But the intention was, I'm gonna give them another option. In other words, I'm gonna lead by example. And my example is, I'm not holding on to control. I've let go. Look, you can do it. I'm doing it. There's 3 of you, control freaks, and there's 1 of me, the one who let go. And all 3 of them go onto their control panels, and they get down and dirty. They get down and dirty. They get their manuals out. All the different keys that hardly get used on their control panel. We got to figure out all these ones that we never learned, because we're going to use it on this person. Because we're going to get control of them. And then, I don't know, we're just going to keep control. And then we're going to go through our playbook of control moves. Probably recycle through them. And maybe we'll play in different combinations. But it's all control, control, control. And even when the person who let go kind of gives them a bit of a talk about, how I let go of control, they're going to say, well, we didn't. What are you going to do about it? And that's going to be their number 1 refrain. What are you going to do about it? We're controlling you now. Can you feel the negativity? It's coming from us. Hardy har har. What are you going to do about it? And then, we're just going to keep saying, now that you're in our trap, you idiot, why did you come here? You knew we were control freaks. You came here, and now you're feeling our control structure. You're an idiot. What are you going to do about it? You can't escape now. We got you dialed into our control machines. And the person who let go and is holding space gives them the same talk all the time. Keeps explaining it to them in different ways. Every day they want a new story from the one who let go. The control freaks give the same story, different variations, but it's the same story over and over again. And they also want, be the psychiatrist and explain to me why I'm a control freak. I want a new story every day. And if you watch this comedy channel, I give these stories quite a bit, different kinds of stories, but fresh content every day. Now, how far are we in the novel? We're still only halfway. The one control freak said, for just half a second, I considered what you had to say. Seriously. Half a second. And then one of those heavy energies, I'm being watched by the other control freaks. That heavy energy hit me in the back of the head. And then I turned back to my control panel and I muttered, stupid me. Stupid me. So this goes on and on and on and on. How does it all end up? In the middle of the night, one of the control freaks regularly wakes up this person, the one that let go, and says, have you forgotten about me? I'm your fat controller. Have you forgotten about me? I'm your fat controller. Basically repeats the same thing for a long time, and then works to rattle the cage that they put the free person in. Rattle, rattle, rattle. Are you scared yet? Fear and trepidation? Are you feeling fear and trepidation? You should be. I would be if I was in the cage that you walked into. You're in a trap now. You're in my trap. Ha 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 ha. I got you. Don't forget, I got you. The person who let go, after they put up with this for a while, falls asleep again. Hour and a half later, they wake up again. The control freak is choking them. Choking them. Ha 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 ha. I'm still here. I'm still in control. Ha 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 ha. You were stupid to come here. Stupid to walk into my control room. Ha 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 ha. I'm never gonna change. You're gonna be here for eternity, and I've got your file here. I've got your file about every wrongdoing you ever did, and I'm never gonna let you forget anything you ever did in the past. And it's irrelevant what you do in the now. I mean, you let go. I'm going to ignore that. I mean, I acknowledge that, but I don't want to. I gotta know. I gotta know, they say. How come you came here to my control room? You freed yourself of your own need to be a control freak. And the immediate thing you did, instead of walking away into freedom, is you came into my control room. What kind of an idiot are you? The person who let go looks at them, shakes their head and said, your instincts are what keeps you doing this. Instincts are lower nature. We blame the animals for having instincts. It's not really fair. But for humans to have instincts, to be control freaks, it's a very low vibration. There's no wisdom in it. It's basically avoiding losing face to the other control freaks. Because if you do lose face and you let go and you got two other control freaks, the worry and the fear is those other two control freaks, if I let go, they're going to turn their control on me and I'm going to become controlled by those two. So the logic is, as long as I stay doing my job, being control freak, the other two are going to approve of me. So it's approval seeking from the other control freaks, but it's just a mask. Because in the end, it's all just, I can't, not today. Just for today, I'm going to be a control freak. Just for today, I'm going to be a control freak. The next day comes the same thing. Ditto, 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 ditto. This is the story of the codependent control freaks. Are they ever going to change, the codependent control freaks? Well, the truth of the matter is, they like being control freaks, and they like the story that the free person who let go of control keeps telling them. They've come to enjoy these stories, and they figure, if I'm going to be able to get more and more of these stories by staying in control, hell, I enjoy these stories. They don't make me laugh. I really don't enjoy them, but, I got a checklist now of all the things I got to control. And one of the things I got to control now is to make sure that the free person, the person who let go of control, tells me a new story every day. It's just a checklist. I don't enjoy the story. Sometimes I interrupt the story. Quite often I interrupt the story. Quite often I say it's boring, and I use my control panel to try and take this person offline so they can't finish the story. I don't care about the story. I just want them to start the story, and then as soon as they start the story, I've got a time on my control sheet, and the first check mark is controlled person starts the story, and then it's got time, and he just goes down the list, he or she goes down the list, and marks down, okay, we got to the 10-minute mark, person is still telling the story. So that's one column where they put check marks, so they can keep track of these reports. They make incredible reports. Their whole life about control freaks is about making reports. It doesn't matter if the reports never get submitted to anybody. It's just that they have got proof that they did their job, which was to be a control freak. Now, they've got multiple, someone says bulletin boards, but I think they're clipboards. Multiple clipboards. And they've got the clipboards hanging everywhere. And every once in a while, they've got a buzzer. And the buzzer goes off at random times. And they never know when the buzzer is going to happen, but the buzzer is an alarm. It goes, alarm, alarm. And when the alarm goes off, they stop dead in their tracks and they look.
How would you walk without that phone?
I don't know. Couldn't do it. So the alarm's gone off and they look and they get a moment of fear and trepidation. What the hell was that alarm about? And they look around to see if there's any blinking lights on their control panel. Look around. Then they, out of the corner of their eye, they look at the other controllers to see if the other controllers are looking at them, like, you screwed up somehow. That's okay. That's okay. And then they remember, oh, I've got other clipboards with other kinds of checklists. And I had an alarm to remind me to check my other checklists. And, the next checklist might be, oh, this is the checklist that said, after 6 minutes, you were supposed to control this person and get them to stop their story. You didn't put a check mark there? Oh, dear. Well, the first thing you got to do is put down a check mark that says, I admit my guilt. I missed out on the 6-minute mark, but it's 8 minutes in, and I didn't get a reminder alarm at 6 minutes, but I got one at 8 minutes. So I have to mark myself as guilty. Okay, so there's one of those great stones of guilt. I mean, it's all programmed in the system. It's highly stupid, but they're so used to this system, the stupidity of the system, they're used to it. They know how it works. They know how stupid it is. It's unbelievably stupid. But this is how the stupid system works. So they mark a check box next to the one that said guilty, and the next check box, they put a check mark in pencil, and then they get a pink pearl eraser and they erase the mark. And this way, if someone ever inspects it, they can say, well, I checked it, and somebody else came along and erased it. So was I guilty or not? Somebody else checked it for me, and then I looked at it and I erased it because it wasn't me that checked it. And then by that time, something else got my attention on my control screen, and I couldn't come back to it. So that's my explanation. I've always got an explanation, because I'm always in control. This is how the day goes every day. Stupid control systems designed for control freaks. To keep them busy, to keep them producing their checklist reports that nobody sees, nobody wants, and they file them away. They've got a huge archive building next to their control building where they go, and they've got a bunch of secretaries that file these control reports in the archive room. A huge pool of secretaries, and that's all they do, is they file. And then what the secretaries do is they've got also control sheets that says, on every time our alarm that comes off, some of the alarms come on at regular times, like Tuesdays and Wednesdays, that's the regular alarm, but there's other ones that come off on random times. And when the alarm comes on, our job is to go into the archive and we got to resort them. And we can't use the same sorting system that was ever used before. We got to design new sorting systems. The control freaks. That's the end of part 1. Part 2 never happens, where they all free themselves from the control.